Hello.
Hi, Ellen. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. I'm so glad we have some time to chat.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to share.
Well, let's start by getting to know you a little bit. You want to tell everybody your first and last name and your age?
Yeah. So, hey everyone, I'm Ellen Rose. I am 35 years old, and I am based in Washington, D.C.
Awesome. And how did egg freezing first enter your life? Let's talk about egg freezing.
Yeah. So, I honestly never thought I would do egg freezing. I thought that by this age I would be married with multiple children. So it never really crossed my mind. But once I turned, I think I was like 32 or so, and my best friend was starting her family. And she was just like, she like sat me down and she was like, so are you going to freeze your eggs? And I was like, no, like, I don't think I need to do that. But it kind of planted the seed for me. And I mentally wasn't there at that time to do it. But eventually, I would say in 2018, last year, it kind of struck me, and I had gotten out of a relationship that I thought might work out, and I was like, I need to like go back to that egg freezing thing, and did some research. And I am very lucky that I have amazing company benefits for it. So I made the calls, found out the numbers. Um, so that was January 2018. And then I kind of chickened out. I just kind of let it go. I started dating someone else later in 2018. That didn't work out. And honestly, January 2019, it kind of was just like, okay, I really need to like seriously consider this. And like, I'm I'm mentally there. It's now doesn't seem daunting to me. It seems exciting. So um, I had more calls. I called our benefits nurse again and just started to get the ball rolling after a busy period at work. So I probably made the call again to get the ball rolling probably around May 2019. And then I had my consultation with my doctor July 5th, because it was the day after July 4th, and no one was in town. And I don't know, I just remember that date vividly. So, yeah. And it's now September 14th today, 2019, and I did it. So
Yeah, you're just finishing your cycle, right? Like you were in cycle almost the same time I was in my cycle.
yeah, I started my cycle like actually starting the injections.
Mm-hmm.
I started on August 29th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I started my injections August 13th. So we were about a week or 2 weeks apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I went 10 days with injections, including the 10th day was the trigger shot.
Yep.
And 36 hours later, I had my retrieval. And it was kind of weird. I wasn't nervous. I was excited. I had my best friend with me. And before I knew it, it was over.
Yeah. Well, how did you feel the first night that you had to do shots? Like, were you
I
nervous?
was extremely anxious. I was anxious because of giving myself shots, one. And too, I was anxious to just get this going. I was just like, there has been so much build up to this. Can we just like, please start? So I met a really sweet girl in my injection class that I was thankfully offered. And she FaceTimed me, and we did our injections together. And she was like such a cheerleader, and it was a really cool experience. And after I got the first 2 injections done, my first 2 of one was Menopur and one was Gonal, that was like, I was like, okay, this is really not a big deal. And I felt very comfortable, but always watched the training videos each night before I did them, just to be like super safe.
Yeah. Sounds like you really took egg freezing like head on as soon as you started it.
Yeah. I just thought it was an amazing opportunity. Honestly, I was like, this is so cool that we can do this. I'm like in control of my body. I've never felt this way before. And it was just such, and just like the support I got too from all my friends and family was amazing. And I shared everything, my whole experience with them, and on social media too. Just, I thought it was important. And I mean, that's honestly how we connected, because I shared, and like, how cool is that? That I now have these with friends, and girls that are going through it in different cities across the country reached out to me too. And whether they were like in cycle as well, or they had just done it and were like, drink tons of Propel water after, and all that fun stuff.
All the tips and tricks.
Yeah, it was so cool. So cool.
It really is a sisterhood. Like I always call it an egg club network. Like, we are now egg sisters for life, like we're all freezers. So
yeah,
it is really
it's so
neat.
cool.
Yeah. How did you feel on the meds? Did you have any symptoms that were unpleasant, or did you get bruising? Tell us about how you felt on the hormones.
The first 2 days I felt fine. So I had 3 days of injections of Menopur and Gonal, and then I got monitored, and they put me on Cetrotide on the 4th day because I had progressed, and that's when I started to really feel the bloating. And I was like, I took pictures too of the bloating happening, and I mean, granted, it was like, people were like, I can tell, but I'm like, yeah, but it feels like crazy. I mean, I was just like, I would say day 4, 5, and 6 were probably my most uncomfortable. But I was surprised that towards the end, I pretty much remained at a steady level. And it didn't get like as out of control as I thought it might. So, and definitely by, retrieval day, I was ready to just, be done with the bloating aspect. But otherwise, I never felt really super emotional. I was surprised about that because I am a very emotional person. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm going to be crying all the time and just like out of whack. But I really didn't feel that way at all, I gotta say. And yeah, so those were like, really, it was the bloating that affected me the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was talking to a friend, and she's like, it's not like, I mean, I know you, so I know what you look like, but it's kind of like you just sort of let yourself go. You're like not pregnant, but like sort of look like maybe you might be pregnant. So it was like this weird in between stage that the bloating kind of gives you. But it's so temporary, because then you like get your period a week after your retrieval. Like, did that happen for you too? Did you?
Yeah, I actually got my period. So my retrieval was on a Monday, and I got my period on a Friday. So wow. I was actually shocked that I got it that quickly, but definitely
it's like 5 days.
yeah, I definitely feel like I can tell. I feel like my body is just like
Lighter, shedding.
lighter.
Yeah,
Yes.
shedding. Yeah, for sure. Um, well, would you recommend this to other people, or what's your biggest takeaway from this experience? Do you feel like you obviously were very public and you shared it on social media. Did that feel better for you? Did that like make the experience feel like you were more empowered and strong, or how do you feel about egg freezing?
Yeah, I thought I hesitated to share, but I have absolutely no regrets about sharing. It has connected me with amazing people like you, other women around the country that are doing this. I have absolutely no regrets of sharing my experience. And if anything, it's been extremely empowering. And just the overall experience of like, they retrieved 10 eggs. I was predicted to get between 7 and 8 retrieved. So I was very excited to get 10. And then 8 were ultimately mature and frozen. So I am, for me, because I'm sure there was a huge comparison game,
Yeah.
I was very excited. And I know my doctor was, pleased with those results. So, I just think it was such a cool experience, and I learned so much about myself and my body. And I have those there should I ever need them. And I'm also extremely thankful for my work benefit because I know not a lot of people have that, and I'm just very thankful. I actually have another cycle that can be covered as well. So I'm dabbling with that idea.
Like doing it again?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
dabbling with it. If I did it,
Did you have leftover meds?
yes, yes. So that's great. And um, so I have those. And then if I did it, it's September 2019 now. I would do it, I would time it up to like lead up to Christmas because I travel a lot for my job. So it's about to get crazy. And this was kind of like the perfect window, August, September, for me to get it done, the first one. So I would do the same. If I did it, I would do the same in December.
Yeah, it does seem like things are a lot slower in December beyond the holiday time. It just like
Yeah.
people are taking vacations and work can sometimes be a little bit more relaxed, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that you're thinking about doing it again. I mean, so many news articles talk about how egg freezing doesn't work, but I think it's just about having the right amount of eggs and the number of eggs for the amount of kids you want. And so I always encourage that, especially if you're under that 15 mark, that if you want one child, it's probably a good idea to do it once or twice.
Yeah,
And
that's cool. Yeah.
amazing that you have work benefits that can help cover it, because that takes off a lot of the stress of, actually pulling the trigger and doing it.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. And bravo for you for like going out there and making sure your work benefits, like understanding that package. I mean, it's like you have to have a PhD these days to understand what your insurance covers.
It's crazy. I know. It was like, yes, you're covered, but you have to call this number to register for that fertility benefit and then get that all set up and give me that number, but it's not your number that's actually on the card. It's a different number.
Yeah. So they're sending you through all these hoops and
Yeah.
hurdles, and it does take diligence to like do the work.
Yeah.
But I'm really proud of you. How do you feel? I know you're roughly just a week or so or two out. How does this change your outlook on, like, let's say dating or like the future now? Has it changed?
Yeah, I think I have a little bit weight off my shoulders in that respect. And it's just kind of like a nice little insurance policies should I ever need them. And yeah, I mean, like, yeah, as I said, I'm 35 and I've lived in New York City and now DC, and the dating situation is extremely rough and competitive. And, have been in some relationships that, just ultimately it was for a reason that they don't work out. And I firmly believe that, like, don't push anything that's not, if you see some red flags, get out of it. And I'm so glad I did. But yeah, the whole experience definitely lifts some weight off my shoulders. And I definitely, like, I'm about to turn 36 in October of 2019. And there's still that, like, concern, but now I have more knowledge about my body. So,
and you have a great baseline to like know where you stand, and it's not that you can't like not affect your hormones and your level and everything like that. Because, like, for example, my AMH from 2 years ago actually improved over time because I had changed some of my lifestyle factors. I, was really conscious about stress and anxiety and, some of these other things that was affecting my health. And I started eating healthier and I started juicing and like all these things. So I think that we fail to recognize how much control we actually have over our mind and our body. And while it may not change our genetics, we still can have good results.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I definitely felt I made a huge lifestyle change in January as well. And I think this all played into ultimately coming to this decision too. I've lost 20 pounds and
Wow.
just
Impressive.
feel like really, really good and mentally and physically. So, like, I think that really helped me get into the space to make that decision and be like, okay, I'm good. I'm good with my body, so it can handle it.
Yeah, and I mean as women, we're all kind of subject to this change in environment with dating. And I feel like, we are kind of a sisterhood that has to band together, and it's tough out there. Like I was teasing with another girlfriend that, the way that the dating apps work, it's like a landmine. You don't know what you're walking into before you
No.
meet somebody. Like they could have relationship scars from other previous things in their past that basically you're just absorbing it. And of course, no one shows you that right away. So it
No.
takes a little bit to see it. And it's just, it's hard to trust, and it's hard to make connections, and it's hard to have all the components, not just physical components, like mental components and spiritual components and like all these other factors that would make a good partner. And then you have to want the same things. Like, do they even want children? Maybe they were married once before and now they've completely pulled that off the table. Like, it's not like you get a rap sheet right away to know, like,
No.
this is going to be a good first date. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of first dates. I'm exhausted. But I will say, like, having eggs in the bank really makes me reevaluate whether someone's worth dating, because I have time and you now have time. It's amazing. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, you should not settle.
Yeah.
Not settle. I'm sure we've all seen examples in our lives of that. And it's just like, don't do it. If anything, I have like that mental peace about the decisions I've made for myself. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you did a lot of really great self-care too during the process.
I did. Yes. Yeah, I mean, leading up to it, just getting my body right. And then during it, I just, I continued to eat really well and then take some walks to just get my body moving, and nothing crazy, but just a mile or two every day until the end. Yeah.
I do think that walks are really nice because when you can't work out, you have to relieve that stress somehow. And walking is low impact. And so it's really helpful. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And
Definitely.
it gives you time to process and think about things. I don't know if you had a lot of things that you were digesting during this time period, but
Yeah, no, it's just like thinking about it. And I would share videos during that time of just like what I was going through and just listen to music, listen to podcasts, and just, yeah, just really take it all in, I guess,
yeah.
the whole experience. And yeah, it was, yeah, if anything, it was like a interesting, like 2 week period of my life that just was really all about me.
Yeah.
It's like always about, other people, I think as
Yeah.
women too. So,
For sure. Well, do you have any lasting advice that you'd want to give maybe someone who's debating or thinking about egg freezing, maybe somebody who hasn't pulled the trigger yet? What would you
yeah.
tell that girl?
Yeah, I would tell that woman to just, you don't, I would say don't force it, but when you're ready, do it and ask questions and talk to professionals and talk to like even at work, I was like, yeah, I just froze my eggs. And a colleague was like, I have a friend that's thinking about that. Do you mind if she reaches out to you? I'm like, of course not. Like, it's all out there. Like, and I am so happy to share anything. But find people that have done it. And it kind of takes, you realize how many people have done it for egg freezing and for IVF. And I've had a ton of friends do it for IVF. And they were just a wealth of knowledge, and it gave me a perspective of what they went through, which I just had no clue. So it was just talk to people, and when you're ready, absolutely do it. You'll be surprised at what you can handle and what your body can do. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Well, Ellen, this has been a lovely chat with you. Thank you so much for being open, sharing your story, and just being public about the entire affair, because I feel like it's women like you that share these important moments that help other women not feel alone or strange or like they're baby crazy just because we want to have it all. And I really admire your brave story and just how you were just so, you just took it by the reins and you said, I'm going to do this. And so it was inspiring watching you.
Thank you so much, Valerie. No, I thank you for reaching out. I'm so excited to just keep sharing my story through this platform.
It's awesome. All right. Well, Ellen, we'll keep up with you online. And until next time, have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.